Robe is on location in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania with lighting designer Jamie Fadden. How do you know this location?
This is classic Pittsburgh. It's a PNC building. This is my home for the last 16 years.
Fantastic. Pittsburgh was once a gritty steel town.
It sure was.
And is now a bit of a gleaming tech hub.
Yes, it's getting there. It's definitely changed a lot since I moved here in 2008.
So we're actually going to take a little jump back in time and talk about when you first got interested in lighting and then decided to follow it as a career.
All right, so I started in 2008. I was in the club scene. I was going to school for a video production degree.
And that was here in Pittsburgh?
That was here in Pittsburgh at the Art Institute of Pittsburgh. I was about halfway through it, didn't love it, and a buddy of mine was working at a nightclub just doing like flash and trash, you know, DJ nights, and asked me if I wanted to come run lights. I had no clue how to do any of that, so I just figured I'd try and did. Would go in, push buttons, do the cryo thing, thought I was, you know, the best. And then we had a band come through and I had my butt handed to me, had no idea what I was doing. But after that moment decided that I ultimately wanted to do lighting for bands. So it quickly evolved after that. I started working at different clubs all around the city. I have pretty much worked at, if there was a venue here, I've worked at that venue. At one point I was working at 5 simultaneously.
Did you have like a first big break or a significant show, or did something happen that sort of really set you on your way?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'd worked at a couple venues. I worked at a theater called Carnegie Library Music Hall, and the one thing I wanted to do was tour. I, you know, had friends that were on tour doing other various things. And it's just something I was like, if I can tour, that means I've made it. I've done it. And it just seemed like it was never going to happen. And I think I was 27 when I got my first tour offer. And it was a van tour with this band called Foxy Shazam from Cincinnati. And it's still to this day my favorite tour I've ever done. That was the moment where I was like, oh yeah, here we are. Now I'm big time. Now I'm bona fide, you know? So yeah, I would say that was my big break, which would lead me to touring with other bands in the future.
As a woman getting into the industry, which is still very male dominated, did you encounter any challenges?
Oh yeah, I have stories for days about this subject. You know, I think it's getting better slowly. I like to think it's getting better. But yeah, there's been issues. You know, I have the guys who don't trust what I have to say. And then I can think of one example that happened where I was actually hired for a tour. I'd filled out the paperwork, did all the things, and we had corresponded through email. And my name's Jamie. It's a gender neutral name. And they assumed I was a guy. And when they found out I was a woman, I got a phone call from the tour manager. I assumed, so there was no paper trail, but they basically told me they couldn't hire a woman because the band's wives would be upset, and they couldn't have a woman on tour because the band couldn't be trusted with them. I didn't really know how to react to it, so I just kind of accepted it and moved on.
Yeah, I can imagine it was a shock. It was very insulting.
Very insulting. I was pretty devastated.
Yeah, and very old school as well.
Yes.
You know, and it's just like really defines a woman in a certain way. Yeah. And it's really horrible. So, but thankfully you've recovered, and
yes.
I'm gone from not only recovered, gone from strength to strength. And you've been working for some fantastic music artists recently, Sammy Hagar, Joe Satriani. And can you tell us a little bit about the most recent Sammy Hagar tour?
So this was the biggest project I have tackled to date. I designed the whole thing with the help of my friend Greg Kunit, who works for Felix Lighting, who is an excellent CAD drawer with Vectorworks. And we sat and we ripped apart that design back and forth as he listened to me struggle with self-doubt to excitement, and I was back and forth with it. I had done so much research, you know. The cool thing about the Sammy Hagar thing is Sammy joined Van Halen, I'm pretty sure in 1986, and that's the year I was born. So I'm doing research to do lights for this artist based on shows that happened before I was even on this earth. So it was a pretty cool experience to go into this and watch and try to figure out how LDs worked at that time and what feelings were in this design, what looks were they going for, and trying not to necessarily recreate them, but honor them. So that's something I'm pretty proud of. I also took on the creating the majority of the video content for this show, treating it like scenic pieces, trying to recreate backdrops blowing in the wind. So it was a really, really fun project and a cool way to see what I was capable of, see how far I could push it within, the confines of the budget. So yeah, it's a show I'm really, really proud of.
So how important are video and set to when you're designing lighting?
That's a big one for me, especially recently with both Joe and Sammy. I have, in the last 2 years, started to incorporate a little more video with thought with my lighting, so I can kind of control how the lighting's going to match with the video and whatnot. They can work together. And I think it's really important. I said when I first took over for Sammy, some of the video in the set seemed like it just didn't serve a purpose. Like it was up there like it was a big TV. My buddy Greg says, video is a scenic element. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. That's brilliant. Yes, we need to think of video as a scenic piece, not a big TV, not something for music videos to play. Like, it's a part of the set, so you can create this whole cohesive kind of structure that flows and works together. So I think it's really important to look at video like that. So
Sure.
That's been really fun.
What do you most love about your work?
Oh man, I would say there's this moment when you get the call over the radio where go stand by for house lights and go for house lights. That adrenaline rush that you get in that moment is something that nothing can recreate. I'm shaking, hands are shaking still every time. It doesn't matter what show it is. And then once you're off and running, that feeling, once you've kind of settled in, that is my favorite part of this job. Doing it, running the lights. It's incredible. It's the coolest job in the world.
Right, your Instagram handle is Jamie Cool Pants. Tell me about how you got to be Jamie Cool Pants.
Well, it's not super exciting other than when I was in middle school, I decided I was going to attempt to make my own pants. I can't sew very well, so I got to school and they were ripping apart at the seams. It's very embarrassing, and my middle school bully, Jess, we're friends now, it's fine, called me Jamie Cool Pants, and they made fun of me for a long time. And then I decided to just lean into it as an adult. So now I own it. I'm Jamie Cool Pants.
Fantastic, that's the best way. Obviously you enjoy traveling.
Yes.
And apart from here, are there any particular places that you enjoy spending time or working or hanging out?
I think as far as work goes, I've become really fond of Las Vegas. Not in the like, yay, Las Vegas and the gamble. I'm not a gambler, I'm not into it. I did a residency there a couple years ago, and I don't love the Strip, but I got really into where the locals hang out and the food, and I love the like history of Las Vegas, that like atomic age kind of stuff. And I love that 70s Elvis Las Vegas. I just really like that vibe.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool city when you peel back the layer of the Strip.
I know you recently spent a bit of time in Japan and enjoyed that very much.
I loved Japan. Working there was absolutely incredible. I mean, just how seriously they take work there. It's really, really inspiring. My spot ops were absolutely awesome. The companies I worked with were fantastic. So it was a really enjoyable experience as far as the shows go. And then just getting to explore Japan, I decided to stay after for 5 days and got a little house in a neighborhood, and I loved it. It was like it's so drastically different from the way that I live and know, that it was just a really eye-opening experience for me. It was really neat. I'd love to go back with my family.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I think it's really important going forward, not just women, but all like young people coming in this industry. When I was coming up, there was a lot of gatekeeping. There was a lot of, if you asked questions, you were made to feel stupid. There was a lot of public embarrassment. And I've seen this really cool thing happen in the last year where these LDs are now being really supportive of each other. And I don't know if it comes from the pandemic, the days of during the pandemic, but I love seeing it. So I think it's important that like we work to lift each other up. We support each other, teach each other things, because we never stop learning. This industry is a moving target. No one's ever going to be the best. There's always going to be someone coming up behind you that's better, and that's just how it works. And that's what keeps us awesome. And you know, there's always a goal. You know, so I think running with that in mind, to be kind and helpful to the next generation.
Sure, to have a bit of a spirit of collaboration.
Absolutely.